Good morning, everyone. I, Bhavna Sharma, Assistant Professor, Department of Commerce, GemTech Greater Noida, welcome you all to the lecture series of Management Accounting. In the previous lecture, we have discussed the topic budgetary control. Today, we are going to discuss the example of flexible budget, what is performance budgeting, and what is zero-based budgeting. Now, a question is given, flexible budget. A company produces 1,000 units at 100% capacity, and cost at this level are as follows. So fixed cost is given as 5,000, variable cost is given 3 rupees per unit, semi-variable is given 4 rupees per unit, out of which 40% is variable, that means remaining 60% is fixed. You have to prepare a flexible budget for 80% and 90% level of activity. Now, I have already discussed the types of budget in which we have discussed what is fixed and flexible budget. Fixed budget is one budget that remains fixed with any level of activity, but flexible budget varies with the level of capacity. So when there is 100% capacity, only variable and semi-variable component will change. Obviously, fixed cost always remains fixed at any level of activity. So for 80% and 90%, we have to calculate. So we can make a table in which we can show the fixed cost and the variable cost. So for 80% and 90%, fixed cost would be same. So here it will remain 5,000 whether the company has 100% capacity, 80% capacity, 90% capacity or 50% capacity. Variable is 3 rupees per unit. So first we are given the 100% capacity. So we'll calculate the cost for the 100% capacity. And for 100% capacity, the company is producing 1,000 units. So likewise, we can calculate for 80% capacity, company is producing how many units? For 90% capacity, how many units are being produced by the company? So for 100% capacity, variable is 1,000 units into 3. So that is 3,000. Again, semi-variable is 4 per unit. So 4 per unit is further divided into 40% is variable. That means out of 4 rupees, rupees 1.6 is variable and remaining 2.4 is the fixed. So like this, we can make a table. First, we have to mention the level of activity. Now, in the question, 100% capacity is given. We have to calculate for 80% and 90%. Second, we have written number of units. So, first we will calculate for 100%. Now, for 100%, 1,000 units are already given. So, when 100% capacity, units produced is 1,000. So, for 90% capacity, units produced is 900. Likewise, when 100% capacity is there, 1,000 units are produced. So, when 80% capacity is there, 800 units are produced. So, it would be 800 into 100% upon 1,000. So, it will be 80%. Now, we are given 5,000 fixed cost for 1,000 units. So, for fixed cost, we do not have to calculate anything because it will remain same. So, whether any level of activity is there, fixed cost will remain fixed. So, it would be 5,000 for all levels of activity. Now, variable cost is given 3 per unit. So, for 1,000 into 3, it would be 3,000. 900 units into 3, 2700. 800 units into 3, 24. So variable cost is that which varies with the level of output. So when the output is more, variable cost would be more. When output is less, variable cost would be less. Likewise, 4 rupees per unit is given semi-variable cost. Out of that, 40% variable is given. So 40% of 4 rupees would be 1.6 per unit. So 1000 into 1.6, 900 into 1.6 and 800 into 1.6. Now, again in semi-variable cost, we have fixed component also. So again, this fixed component will be same for every level of activity. So out of 4 per unit, 60% is fixed. That means 2.4 per unit. So for 1000 into 2.4 is 2400. So now we do not have to calculate for 80 and 90% because for 1000 units it is 2400. So it will remain 2400 for every level of activity. Now you can do the total of every capacity. So for 80% capacity, company has to incur 11,080 rupees. For 90% capacity, cost is 11,540. And for 100% capacity, cost is 12,000. So likewise, you can calculate the or you can prepare a flexible budget for any level of activity. Now next topic is performance budgeting. It means the responsibility of various levels of management that is predetermined in terms of output. It is based on classification of managerial level for the purpose of establishing a budget for each level. Individual in charge of that level should be made responsible and held accountable for its performance over a given period of time. So starting point of performance budget rests with the organization chart in which the spheres of jurisdiction have been determined. Authority leads to responsibility for certain costs and expenses which are forecasted or present in the budget with the knowledge of manager concerned. The cost in each individual's or department's budget should be limited to the cost controlled by him or her. The person concerned should have the authority to bear the responsibility. So basically, performance budgeting is that every manager or individual person responsible for a particular department is accountable for the performance of that particular department or unit. Now, last topic for today is zero-based budgeting. Now, zero-based budgeting is different from traditional budgeting because it starts from zero, because there is no basis or any past, we do not have any past data. So generally what we do, last year's figures are accepted as they are. It is being reduced or increased. But in zero-based budgeting, it starts with the premise that budget for next period is zero. So long the demand for a function, a process or project or any activity is not justified for each rupee from the first rupee spent. So assumptions are that without such a justification, no spending will be allowed. So zero-based budgeting means from the name it is clear that there is no base. We take the base as zero. So burden of proof shifts to each manager to justify why the money should be spent at all and to indicate what would happen if proposed activity is not carried out and no money is spent. Now we'll discuss the basic features of zero-based budgeting. First, zero-based budgeting emphasizes on why to spend and it does not emphasize on how to spend. Next, individual objectives are linked to the organizational objectives. Participation of all levels of management is required in decision making. Alternative ways are considered And last, quick budget adjustments can be made. Now we'll discuss the advantages of zero-based budgeting. First, that out of date and inefficient operations can be identified. It allows the managers to respond to changes in the business environment. Instead of accepting the current practice, it creates a challenging and questioning attitude. Allocation of resources is made according to the needs and benefits derived. Zero-based budgeting has a psychological impact on all levels of management, which makes each manager to pay his way. It is a systematic way to evaluate different operations and programs undertaken by the management. And last, zero-based budgeting links the budgets with the organizational objectives. Next, we'll discuss the process of zero-based budgeting. First step is that in zero-based budgeting, the company has to determine the objectives of budgeting. Now, objectives can be, one of the main objective is to reduce the cost or to drop some object which is not fit in the organizational structure. So first step is to determine the basic objective of the budget. Second is to identify the decision units. Decision units means the units which is related to the cost benefit analysis, which will be done to arrive at decision whether they should be allowed to continue or not. So decision unit can be a program, a project, a segment, or a product line. So each decision unit must be independent to all other units. In next step, decision packages are prepared. In this, manager has to analyze the activities of the decision unit. Manager examines the alternative ways of accomplishing the objectives. Manager does cost benefit analysis, selects the best alternative, prepares the decision package, which summarizes the plans and resources required to achieve the objectives. Now, decision packages is a set of documents which identify or describe the activities of a unit in such a way that management can evaluate and rank them against others competing for resources and decide whether to approve it or disapprove. Next step is ranking of decision packages. Now, after preparation, the decision packages has to be ranked. Objectives is to put limited resources at disposal of organization for best use. Management ranks various decision packages in order of decreasing benefits or importance. And this is sent to superiors who then review and ranks these decision packages by keeping in view the overall objective. And last step is the preparation of budget. Now in this, cutoff point is established. All the packages which come with this cutoff point are accepted and others are rejected. So resources are allocated to various decision units and budgets related to each units are prepared. Now in last, we have to discuss the limitations of zero-based budgeting. First limitation is that there is implementation problems because zero-based budgeting, like we have already discussed, that we have to prepare the budget with the scratch. So generally it is not wholehearted support is not given by the employees, by the organization. There is resistance. So when there is resistance, then it would be a problematic situation to implement such a budget. Next limitation is that decision package formulation problems. Because in decision package, we have to fix the minimum level. So that minimum level of effort is required. Again, that would be a problematic situation. Next is ranking problem. That decision packages has to be ranked. Who will rank it? What are the different methods of ranking it? There can be biasness also. So there can be ranking problems. This is costly because again we have to start from scratch every time. we have to take it 0. We cannot consider the past data. And it is time consuming as compared to conventional type of budget. Thank you. That's all for today. We are finished with the budgetary control.